You're listening to a podcast from funnyinthemiddle.com.
Hi, we dig music, and because of this we've kept the music in our podcast at a low background level because we believe that you should support the artist by buying their records and going to their gigs. If you want to hear the songs in full, we've made Spotify playlists of all available music featured in each episode, which you can find on funnyinthemiddle.com. You can also join in the discussion on Facebook and Twitter by searching at We Dig Music PCast. Finally, if you dig what you're hearing, please subscribe to us on your podcast app of choice, write a review if possible, and tell all your friends that you think would enjoy it. Anyway, enough of my yakking. On with the podcast. Aw, you've never heard of A? A were amazing.
No.
No, they weren't.
They were!
Who?
Sort of
They didn't.
pop rock kind of.
What year?
Started in about 96, I think, was their first album. They then turned
You've
into
heard that song Starbucks, haven't
Yeah, but that was after they turned into Linkin Park.
you? Yeah.
So they kind of sold out by that point. Their first two albums were
American.
brilliant. No, very, very not American.
Yeah, in fact, Dan P. Carter was the bass player.
Oh, they didn't
Who's
literally
Colin.
turn into Linkin
Yeah,
Park.
like, as in
Yeah.
Dan P.
No,
Carter.
they heard
big
Linkin
Radio
Park
1
and
rock DJs.
actually sold some records.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they didn't
Yeah.
sell records to start off with at all.
Apart from to me.
A, just
Yeah,
A.
as in, no, it's capital A, it's not.
capital A.
It was
Yeah, drawing it in the air does not work on a
it was
podcast.
basically just a lazy way to get themselves easily noticed.
It was so that they were the first band in the racks in a record shop. That's why they went for that band name.
Which worked until AA came out.
No, it worked until, because A would be before AA in the alphabet, because it's just A.
This is true.
Yes.
Yeah, it
The
worked.
Dewey Decimal System.
It worked until the internet came along, and you can't Google them very easily at all.
No.
You just type A, Google goes, what are you talking about?
Not to mention bands like Shells, who spell their name beginning with an asterisk.
Or whose name is spelt with 3 exclamation marks. Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know how to pronounce that either.
It is the most commonly pronounced way is ch, but it can be any 3 repetitive sounds such as pow, 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 or even
Fuck.
it could be fuck if you wanted to. However, that's sort of more words than sounds, but it's that works.
That's it. Hi, we are.
Seen them live. I can't remember how they introduced themselves on stage. I don't think they actually did.
That was
They were
ludicrous.
very good though.
Ludicrous.
So, hello and welcome to We Dig Music. I'm Colin, and with me my comrades and co-host Tracey
Hello.
and Ian.
Hello.
Each episode we'll be going through the alphabet, picking 2 bands each time, one well known, one not so well known, discussing sort of various things about them, what we like, what we don't like, going off on various tangents and
Probably bands that are better than them, in our opinion, at that time.
absolutely
Why we hate them.
why we hate them.
Generally why
There's
we
going to
hate
be
them.
some of that stuff. I don't think there's anywhere we all 3 of us hate the band that we've picked, because I don't think we would have picked.
That'd be pointless.
It would, well, it could be a laugh sometimes.
Yeah, it could be fun to just
But I-
rip on someone for half an hour.
I kind of like positivity, you know. I'm a hippie, so we'll we'll try and have at least some positive thing, because otherwise we'll just get lots of people on the internet going, but I really like whichever band you've ripped the shit out of this week.
Loads of people on the internet. There's your optimism and positivity
Yes.
again.
Anyway, so what we've decided
I just got the start to Everything About You by Ugly Kid Joe stuck in my head.
Never
You
mind.
know guys on the beach who hate everything. Yep.
So what we're going to do, as this is the first episode, so sort of get to know each of us and what kind of thing we're into, we're going to go through the last, first, best and worst records and gigs. So I think we'll start with records. Should we go with first? First of all, even though that doesn't rhyme, if we go first, last, best, worst. but it doesn't matter that it doesn't rhyme. It makes more logical sense. So first record I remember having was my dad gave me a copy of Off the Wall by Michael Jackson on vinyl, which I believe he got from a second-hand record shop must have been about 85, 86. So I was about 4-ish at the time. Big Michael Jackson fan. He was at the height of his career. He'd probably been a fan of me at the time. Ian, what was your first record?
I actually, for my birthday, asked someone to get me a copy of Hysteria by Def Leppard.
Cool.
My parents failed miserably, but my aunt and uncle delivered. Which
Excellent.
is possibly the best present they ever got me.
And that's the one where they sort of recorded everything,
Yeah,
like even guitar strings separately and that kind of thing.
It is the most clinically produced record
Yeah.
ever, I think. Maybe.
Okay. Cool.
It's great.
Photograph on that, or was that on an earlier
No,
one?
that was on High End Drive, I think.
Oh, okay,
No,
cool.
not High End Drive. The one with the diving board.
Yeah. I'm not the biggest Def Leppard fan in the world, but I have picked up a
Let's
few.
pour some sugar on them.
I know. They're a band I may investigate later on. I remember liking Let's Get Rocked when it was on Top of the Pops occasionally when I was a kid. Tracy, what have you got down? What was your first record?
The first record I remember being given as a present was on my 10th birthday. And I can't believe I'm going to admit this. On record, it was one of the Beatles collections.
Okay.
It was the blue one.
Yeah, that's really embarrassing.
The
isn't it,
not
the
cool
Beatles?
one. Yeah, well, it is for me.
I thought you were going to say like Kajagoogoo or something like that.
No,
See, if we went into first singles, it's going to get really embarrassing.
but age 10, I remember having a birthday party and playing this Beatles album.
You know what? Let's go for first singles as you mentioned it,
Crikey.
because mine's going to win.
I can't even remember.
Gonna.
Was yours on Wax
Single.
Cylinder? Is that why? Can you remember yours, Ian?
Yeah. I believe it was Stutter Rap by Morris Minor and the Majors.
Amazing.
Which was a joke version of the Beastie Boys song.
I remember that.
I loved them. They were great.
Tracy, can you remember your first single?
It was probably younger than 10, actually.
Yeah, a lot of the time it is.
Age 6 or 7, I had a fixation with Dean Friedman. And I had the Lucky Stars 7-inch.
That's amazing. I don't even know what that sounds like. I'm going to listen to it later on though and laugh heartily.
You'll remember it when you hear it.
It's a bit of a cheat me saying what was your first single, because I didn't buy my first single until 1994, and it was Loser by Beck, which is pretty much the coolest first single anybody could buy, so I win. Should we go with
Well, I thought we were going to be talking about the first album we actually bought.
well, this is why we changed that, because
ourselves.
Because you
Because
clearly
that
picked,
was way cooler.
and that's why you picked it, right?
that's why you put Hatful of Hollow by the Smiths, which is a lie.
It's the first record I actually went out and bought.
Yeah, but you were 37 at the time, and it was only like 5 years ago.
I was 13.
Yeah. Shall we go with last albums we bought? Ian, what was the last album you bought?
It was Rhea by
Oathbreaker.
Oathbreaker, yes. Fantastic band, fantastic album. I'd heard like 2-3 albums by them before then, but it is a major step. Really proggy, really post-rocky.
The opening track is absolutely amazing.
Savage.
Yeah.
Really, really savage.
Yeah. Sort of goes from kind of quiet melodic into like the screamiest, black metal-y, noisiest thing in the universe.
It's the most emotionally bleak album I've heard in a long, long time.
Yeah, really awesome. What about you, Tracy? Last album you bought?
Well, again, I've taken creative license on this question. It's not actually the last album I bought. I've bought several more since, but I haven't listened to any of them because I'm utterly obsessed with one I bought about 4 weeks ago. It's a band called the Scud Mountain Boys, album called Massachusetts. It's
Okay.
actually from 1996 on Sub Pop. It's the most beautiful slice of alt country heartbreak you've ever heard. It was introduced to me as the best album you've never heard, and it was absolutely right. And any album I've bought since is actually still in the to listen to pile because I can't stop listening to this. I'm completely obsessed.
Okay, cool. Last record I bought was it was Record Store Day a couple of weeks before we recorded this. Not bought any since then because I spent all of my money.
I spent all of everybody else's money.
One of the records I bought that day was David Bowie, Cracked Actor, which is live in 1974. It was the same tour that they did, recorded David live, but it's better than David live. It's like sort of Diamond Dogs era, and it's such a good recording. The live band and the set list is absolutely amazing. Since then, there's been a few things I've been listening to on Spotify, but I've not actually bought yet. The new Slow Dive record is absolutely fantastic. And the new Paramore single is brilliant.
It is. I heard it the other day. It sounds nothing like them.
It
apart
sounds
from her
like
voice.
Taylor Swift, which is excellent.
So I saw the video, I'm like, that's Hayley Williams.
Yeah.
Wait, this is Paramore? No way.
Yeah, they've gone really, really pop, and it's excellent, and I love
I feel like I should interject that I have been listening to music that I haven't bought on Spotify.
Yeah,
because I've got myself a premium account so I can listen to anything.
Yeah.
And they have been.
Yeah.
Lots of Entombed.
Awesome.
Lots of Entombed.
Not listening to it behind you. Let's give them a listen later.
Yeah.
So, let's go for best album that you ever bought. Do you want to go first, Ian?
See, right, I know when I wrote the list, I put Year Zero by Nine Inch Nails, and it's still an absolutely stellar album. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Like it's a huge concept album. Even the CD itself is a colour changing CD that reveals binary, which gives you a code to go to a website.
Brilliant.
There's a wiki page about the whole thing, the backstory and everything. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Obviously, I always go to the show for Punk to Come by Refused as best album
Amazing
because
album.
it's just great. But I put down Year Zero on the list because I just remembered it.
I mean, some of the stuff off that album, it's amazing. I love everything Nine Inch Nails have done, but I think that's up there with my favourites because The Great Destroyer
is just amazing.
That's the best song for testing speakers ever.
Yep.
It's got weird glitchy noises and loads of bass, and it just sounds mental.
Everything they did leading up to that as well has been massively inspirational to the way I've presented my band as well, with lots of the hiding messages and secret locations, etc.
Pretentious.
I've shamelessly ripped that stuff
Yeah.
out, and I do not care.
No. The greatest album of all time, and there is no argument to it, is obviously, as everybody knows, Disintegration by The Cure. It's just a perfect album. Human achievement reached its peak in 1989 when that was released. And I mean, there's been good stuff since then, but not as good as Disintegration.
You know, I only bought Disintegration about a year ago. I kind of stopped listening to The Cure around The Head on the Door.
I was 3 then.
And it's only after you and several other people have been nagging me for years to actually properly listen to Disintegration and not just the few tracks from it that
it's
I knew
amazing.
anyway. And
Well, the title track's just absolutely stunning.
It
I mean, the
is.
whole thing's perfect. But
No, they took Lullaby off, I'd be happy. I hate that.
Lullaby's great, it's just a bit overplayed.
it's beautiful.
I just don't like it.
Fair
at all.
enough.
I like the liner notes. Play it loud.
Yeah. Definitely. Absolutely. Play it loud constantly, all the time. Piss off your wife.
When I was
Actually,
single,
she loves The Cure, so.
in my old job, I had my own office and I could listen to whatever I wanted, and for every Valentine's Day I would just put that on loop all day and no one would disturb me. It's the best way to be single, just wallow wallow in Robert Smith's misery all day. And everyone else is like, oh, I do not want to go in there. There's a lot of stuff that I want to ask him, but I think he's in there weeping. I'm not sure.
Okay, Tracy, what about you?
Unsurprisingly, my best album is a Teenage Fanclub album. And everyone bangs on about the 1991 bandwagon-esque, but for me, it's got to be Grand Prix. It was the soundtrack to my 20s, and it's pure sunshine.
Yeah, it's great. Love that album. The jangly 12-string electric guitars all over it, vocal harmonies. I think
the harmonies are glorious.
I think it's between that and songs from Northern Britain for their best.
Yeah, definitely.
So let's get negative.
Don't look at me. I heard that one track today, and that was the only one that I've ever knowingly
No,
heard.
I mean the worst album.
Oh right, I was going to
negative.
say like that one track, and it should be the theme tune to a BBC sitcom from the 90s.
True, yeah.
That was my feeling.
Sparky's Dream.
I know.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way. Just,
yeah, that's
it sounds
just what.
like a big. It does like
on the buses or something.
No, 90s sitcom, not 70s sitcom.
Bloody hell.
Tracy.
I know we're not saying our ages, but you're showing yours.
Yeah, Tracy's in her 70s, so we'll make references that don't make sense to many people when she's talking about, when she used to hang around with Glenn Miller at his gigs and that kind of thing. So let's go. This is what I was talking about when I said let's get negative.
Negative?
The worst album that you've ever bought.
I put down Antics by Interpol because I got it because everyone was banging on about them, and I put it on. I was like, well, "This is shit."
Have you heard "Turn on the Bright Lights," the album before?
I haven't.
I think you dig it.
Sure, it's been on, but I didn't like his vocals. I didn't like the songwriting.
Right.
A couple of mates have been banging on it.
What year was
Slow
that?
Hands is on that one?
Yeah, Slow Hands is on.
And
that.
that was saying that's an amazing song, and it's like, well, if this is their amazing song, then I'm going to. Honestly, I prefer Editors.
Yeah.
They were definitely
I
doing the
prefer
same thing
Editors.
at the same
Sound.
time, and I
In
think
fact,
they're
when I
head and
first
shoulders
heard
above.
Slow Hands, I thought it was Editors.
Yeah, it's like they're like a shit Editors, basically.
They're both taking influence from Joy Division.
Well, yes, obviously.
Television, that kind of thing.
Editors did it better, and they're from Birmingham and used to rehearse in the same studio as me.
True.
Fuck off, Interpol.
The first album is great, man.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Tracy,
Probably
what did you go for?
Well, shamefully, I'm actually going to say the last Belle and Sebastian album, Girls in Peacetime Want to Dance. I've really tried. There was this parody article on the internet recently, the next 12 Belle and Sebastian albums.
Yeah.
And amongst the fictional titles, there was one called Getting Hassle from Stephen Pastel, with a couple of tracks on there called Suddenly Very Disco and one with a girl singing. And really, that's this album.
To be fair, that is most Belle and Sebastian albums, even the ones I like.
I just can't get into this album.
I've not heard. I've heard the singles and I thought they were all right, but
Yeah, we put it up for like about 2 minutes
Yeah.
at the start.
I like Ever Had a Little Faith.
okay.
I really like that song. But
I
the rest of
really
it-
liked a lot of the one before that I can't remember the name of now. Right About Love? Is that the one before it?
Yeah.
Particularly the opening track on that's great. But yeah, I've just not got round to buying Girls in Peacetime Want to Dance.
I can't take that seriously, they're named after cartoon characters.
I'm going to think of some now. What about Danger Mouse? He's not a band.
No, see, it's not a band, therefore removed
I'm
from that.
going to sporadically
Are you
think
a
of
band
more.
with Asterisks?
Not that I've heard of.
No.
You just made that up.
Yeah.
You're going to form
You're
that
just
band.
trying to ruin my rule.
I'm going to sporadically think of more bands named after cartoon characters because I know there will be some.
Probably. Put
The
them in the comments section.
worst band I've ever, worst album I've ever bought. Now, I'm a massive fan of Jeff Buckley, and I dig a load of 70s sort of folk pop type stuff. So I really should like Tim Buckley.
Is he related?
Yeah, it's Jeff
That's his
Buckley's
dad.
dad.
Oh, right.
So I bought which album? Goodbye and Hello by Tim Buckley, and I've tried my hardest to get into it, and it's one of these, you know, it's not you, it's me kind of things. I know I should like it.
It is you.
But I cannot
It really
dig it,
is
man.
you.
It always is, so that's the thing.
It's utter fucking wank, is what it is.
It's so not.
Yeah, it is.
It's got my favourite ever Tim Buckley song on it.
Might have my favourite ever Tim Buckley song. It's just all shit.
It's got Once I Was on it.
Okay.
And that is such beautiful.
Just for the
For
record,
the people listening,
shaking her head and clearly trying to think of a sentence which doesn't translate well to podcast.
yeah, leaving people speechless isn't ideal on a podcast. But yeah, I've tried and I can't dig it. But yeah, anyway.
It's beautiful psych folk.
I may
The
get
whole
into
album.
it one day, but
I'm going to put some on after we finish.
I haven't yet.
You.
Is that to get rid of me? Is that when you need me to go home?
I'm going to put that on.
Tim.
I'm going to turn on the bright lights on, and I'm going to see if I hate all of that.
I used to run I started doing a blog years ago where I was going through my CD collection alphabetically and just writing about each one, and Tim Buckley killed the blog because I got as far as that album and I was just like, I can't even think what to write because I should like it, but I don't.
The Journey to the Centre of My CD Collection.
That was the one. Yeah,
You could have just written that.
I was just deliberating about it for ages, trying to get into it and failed.
I nearly quoted Dave Grohl at that point. And glad I did.
And I was really looking forward to you getting to Mogwai.
It'd take a while, but we'll do that on this podcast instead at some point in the future. So let's go on to gigs then. Tracey, first ever gig.
Are we talking first ever?
We're talking first
Yes.
ever gig. Don't try and go, oh, my first ever gig was Kraftwerk in Berlin in
That's it.
1973.
Yeah, don't try and be cool.
No,
Just-
Because you'll fail.
my first unchaperoned gig isn't cool, believe me, but are we talking first unchaperoned
Yes.
gig or first
First
ever
gig that you went to. Mine is... Alright, shall I do mine first? Delamitri.
Yeah, but were you with your mum and dad?
I was with my mum and dad. They were ace actually. Delamitri are massively underrated, but they are in no way cool.
They really are.
That was the Aston Villa Leisure Centre, which is now sadly been knocked down.
To make way for another leisure centre, I think.
Yeah, but they don't put gigs on in there.
No.
That was in 1995. But the best bit about it was they were supported by a band called King L, who only me and my dad ever bought their album. But it was absolutely astounding. It's a guy called Gary Clark was the main songwriter, who ended up sort of producing and writing for various pop artists like Natalie Imbruglia and people like that later on. But King L's sort of like rock album, there's a track called Green on it. It's absolutely amazing, really good guitar parts on it. So, as I'm not trying to be cool, Tracey, what was your first gig?
My first actual gig, aged 6, with my mum, was Dean Friedman at Birmingham Town Hall.
You're obsessed, woman.
So this would have been 1977.
At the height of punk, and you went to see Dean Friedman.
But, you know...
You were like 6.
He was
that point.
amazing.
Yeah,
I
I
met,
hadn't been born.
Yeah, I hadn't been born, so I didn't go.
I met him at the stage door, and he signed a poster for me.
Have
And
you
he-
still got it?
Sadly, no. He wrote
Okay.
on it, "Tracey, you're adorable."
Oh,
I was in love.
Okay.
fair enough. Ian, first gig.
Sadly, I don't get to sound like a loser on this one, because the first gig I actually went to, because my parents weren't big live music people, was actually Bruce Dickinson on the Balls to Picasso tour. Not actually quite as cool as it could have been, really. Many years later, I met the guitarist and bass player from that, while playing in their other band, and told them about it, and they apologised profusely. I said that they didn't have to, it's fine. They're still playing in his band, so they can't
Yeah.
be that embarrassed by it. What I also discovered was that Bruce Dickinson is strong as fuck. He high-fived me at the end of the show and I couldn't feel my arm for about half an hour afterwards.
Awesome.
So,
Amazing.
and I did the whole gig in a biker jacket, which enabled me to get to the front very quickly because you can sweat through leather.
Fantastic.
You become very slippery.
Top tips.
Yes.
So, last gig you went to. Do you want to go for that, Ian?
Oh, God. Last gig I went to was actually Kings of Leon because my girlfriend works with the NEC group and occasionally we get, like offers on cheap tickets and such. And, I don't mind Kings of Leon.
They're alright. I'd watch Kings of Leon. Their first album was really good, actually.
They were
First
really
album
good.
was
live.
great.
We had seats with limited visibility,
Yeah.
which usually is fine, but they got a massive curtain around 3/4 of the stage.
Was the limited visibility because this curtain was in front of your seat?
Basically, yes. Like, occasionally, you could see a follow-up right at the
Right,
start,
okay.
like, when they came to the front of the stage. And then, like, probably about 6 songs from the end, there's a lyric that says, "Let the curtain drop," and it does. And then they've got, like, this whole, like, extra musicians, stuff like that. And you're like,
Right.
why didn't you play that, like, fourth?
Yeah, first song in the set would have been good.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
I mean, 2 or 3 songs with this, that's fine, right? I mean, we got cheaper tickets, so
Yeah.
it's not that bad, but these tickets were like 50, 60 quid a head. If you were sat there seeing fuck all for like an hour and a half,
And then they
then the curtain drops and you're like, oh cool,
Yeah.
amazing, you had all of that. Thanks!
Tracy, last gig you went to?
Last gig, it was British Sea Power, and to be honest, I couldn't tell you much about them. I haven't really listened to them. They passed me by at the time. I was there for the support band, actually, a Birmingham band called July Skies, who are just the most beautiful, shimmery, ambient, ethereal folkiness you could imagine.
I've not heard them yet, but I will check them out.
And they haven't played live in a few years, so...
How long have they been around? They've been sort of going quite a while then.
2004, I think their first
cool.
album was.
Right, fair enough.
And
I
just
think.
kind of got dug out for this gig.
Yeah. Unearthed.
Something like that.
My last gig was 12-Foot Ninja at Mama Roo in Digbeth in Birmingham, which is my new
I
favourite
love
gig
that
venue.
venue.
It's
I've
an
not been
amazing
there. It
venue.
looks great though. I've
It's
seen
so
pictures.
cool. It's basically...
It's like the Hanging Gardens of Babylon.
Well, it's like a New Orleans street,
Yeah,
hence
yeah.
the name. But it's a really cool, nice, small venue. 12-Foot Ninja are an Australian band. They're kind of new metal prog, but
I've heard a
they're
couple of tracks. They're
very
very decent.
very Faith No More
Oh,
sort
okay.
of sounding, but yeah, fantastic. They've got a really good sense of humour as well. If you watch their videos, they're really funny.
Australian proggy bands are just great for that. I saw, I can't remember the name of the band, but they were pretty wicked.
That helps.
So that works.
No, I'll
liked
look
them
it up
too.
later. But like, they've got this really good build-up for their last but one song, and he's like, "Come on, you can do this!" And just as it's about to drop, they rickrolled the audience.
Amazing.
They played like a solid 30 seconds of Rick Astley, and everyone's like, "Wait, what? Did you just do that?"
And if anybody listening knows who that band is and would like to tell us, then let us know
Hunt us on a
via Twitter.
postcard.
I'm just going to look it up now.
Okay, great.
I'm not quite sure how I'm going to look it up, but
No, you're going to Google who is that band that I don't know the
talk
name of.
amongst yourselves.
While Ian's looking that up, shall we go with best gig you've ever been to? Do you want to go first, Tracy?
Yeah, the best gig I ever went to was Arthur Lee playing with Shaq in Liverpool in 1992.
Arthur Lee from Love.
From Love.
Yeah.
And he'd met Shaq were a Liverpool band. He'd met them about a year before in Paris and was astounded by how much they loved his work and how well they knew it and how well they could play it. And so they arranged a gig using them as his backing band.
Yeah.
And honestly, it was like stepping back into 1967.
You would know.
And it was just an amazing night, and I think Arthur Lee was actually taken back by how much love there was in
Was it
that room
like a one-off
for
gig
him.
sort of thing, or?
Yeah, it kind of wasn't, because it wasn't for, oh God, it wasn't for years after. In fact, it wasn't until after his release from prison that he started touring again.
Yeah. Well, it's quite difficult to tour when you're in prison for a start.
Unless you're Johnny Cash, maybe.
Well, he wasn't actually imprisoned.
No.
He was kind of visiting. Best gig I've ever been to was Jenny Lewis at Santa Ana Observatory in Orange County, California.
That's pretty cool.
It was pretty amazing. American audiences really, really are a lot more enthusiastic than UK audiences seem to be.
Yeah, because we're too cool.
Yeah, we are too cool, but they're all like really getting into it. It came out with like, there's a mariachi band at the start of the gig just for the intro rather than the intro tape, and there's sort of various guests and stuff on and off, and absolutely amazing venue, really good like view from everywhere, really good sound. Ian, have you found out who that band was?
No.
Okay.
No, it's a. I've just googled Australian prog bands and they didn't come up, which is ridiculous because they are an Australian prog band.
Oh no.
Really annoying.
So, as you've not found it, do you want to go with what your best gig you ever saw was?
Best gig I ever saw, yes, was Refused. Obviously, because if you've seen Refused live, you'll know that that's the best live gig you're ever going to see.
Missed them twice.
I haven't seen them live, despite your nagging me to go when they reformed.
I absolutely don't like bands that dance on stage. Like, it's just... I like emotion, I like emotional playing, I like people that are throwing themselves around and getting into it, but Refused dance, and it's because it's positive, it's because it's, you know... The lead singer is the most charismatic man I've seen on a stage ever. I don't think I've seen anyone that pulled off his, or could pull off his stage moves without me thinking, you're a wanker, you are. Like, I saw him when they did the Reformation tour, and he knocked the microphone over deliberately, did a 360 spin, dropped to one knee, caught it, and then stood up again. Like, if I'd just seen literally any other human being do that, I'd have been like, you smug prick. But I saw him do it, and I was like, that is sick. That is the coolest thing.
I'd love to have seen that at a Structures gig.
Yes, I wouldn't do that. I'm not coordinated enough.
Saw Harmar Superstar once supporting, I think it was supporting the Polyphonic Spree, and his drummer halfway through.
Dead Letter Circus.
Okay,
that's who it was.
Excellent. Harmar Superstar's drummer halfway through a beat, knocked his hi-hat stand over, put his drumstick in his mouth, grabbed the hi-hat stand, brought it back up, took the drumstick out of his mouth, carried on playing without missing a beat.
Nice.
That was pretty spectacular. Shame the music was a bit shite. So, on that note of shite, worst gig you've ever been to? Do you want to go for it, Ian?
Yes, well, again, this is a defensible one due to the, negotiable prices of the tickets, and also the fact that I only wanted to go to see In Flames, the opening band, and they were spectacular. They were great. It was Avenged Sevenfold, a band who I've for quite a long time thought were shit.
And you were correct for quite a long time.
It was the most phoned-in gig I have ever seen. Like, at that level, for that kind of ticket prices, they got little cut-out bits of stage where they got fans, like Metallica did 30 years ago. Well, 20, but still. Yeah. They were just noncing around. Let's take that out.
No, we'll go with that.
Okay. They were just prancing around, not really into it at all. They started the set with that Sinister Gates, which is obviously his real name.
It is. I've seen his birth certificate.
Okay. Yeah. Playing a solo, and he hit so many bum notes in it. People think you're amazing. They say that you're an amazing guitarist, but you suck.
Yeah.
What I didn't realise at the time, right, because Disturbed were supporting, which is hilarious, the guy checking the lighting rig areas would walk up and stand with his arms like Jesus Christ pose in various areas. And in every single one of those areas, David Draymond did exactly the same thing. While screaming things like, "My people! How are you doing?" Like some kind of weird preacher type person.
Amazing.
But their guitarist, who definitely sucks at lead guitar, opened the set in exactly the same place, playing this really shitty guitar solo, and I'm going to assume that he was taking the piss out of Avenged Sevenfold, which makes me think Disturbed are a lot cooler than I previously thought they were.
Yeah.
Like, I think they're just a deliberate, huge, massive parody.
Yeah.
And Avenged Sevenfold have become a parody of themselves, and they haven't noticed yet.
I saw Avenged Sevenfold at Twickenham Rugby Stadium supporting Iron Maiden, and Within Temptation were also on the bill, and Within Temptation weren't the worst band of the day.
Which is
so
magical.
Yeah,
really.
so, yeah, and Maiden obviously were fantastic.
Yes.
They're great live. Tracey, worst gig?
Was The Damned at Wasted Festival in 2006.
Okay. Who was in the lineup at that point?
Vanian
Right, yeah.
and the Captain,
Right.
and that's the only
Some other
recognisable.
people.
Not rat scabies.
No, of course not. And a really, really annoying keyboard player called Monty, who has the habit
Amazing.
of coming out front and dancing in front of his keyboard setup. Like, dancing in front of it going, look, Mum, I'm in The Damned. So irritating.
Oh.
I don't know why he's there. But they came out late
For the
anyway.
keyboard parts, I
Yeah.
reckon that's...
They came out really late. Vanian is such a diva. And he looks like a fat Bono anyway. And they just didn't want to be there. And normally where the Captain would be talking through gigs, he didn't speak. And the highlight of the night was actually when they played Alone Again Or, and this was only a couple of months after Arthur Lee had died, and so he dedicated it to Arthur Lee.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that was the only high point of the gig for me.
Fair enough. Worst gig I've ever seen, Blink-182 at Leeds Festival in 2000.
Was that when they couldn't play and just wrote songs about fucking dogs in the air?
It was, well, basically, yeah, it was... Blink-182 were probably second or third on the bill, on the main stage. There were a lot of kids who had bought their entire weekend ticket to go and see Blink-182.
Yeah.
I liked one or two songs, so I thought I'd go and check them out. But there were a lot of people who invested, I mean, admittedly, a lot less money than it costs to go to Reading and Leeds these days, but it was like, I think it was £80 a ticket, I think, back then for the weekend, which is more than that for a day ticket now. But yeah,
Still a lot for one band, though, isn't it?
yeah, but there were people I'd spoken to over the weekend where Blink-182 were the main thing they were looking forward to, and they were on stage for about 45 minutes-ish, which is fairly normal festival set, and they played about probably 5 or 6 songs in that time. They're a punk band. These weren't extended, long, you know, jammed out
Just
solos. They were just a lot of talking about, you know, making jokes about fucking each other's mums and that kind of thing in between. And I was just sitting there going, I'm really glad these aren't the main people I went to see this weekend. They were utterly shite.
And yet they grew up and matured and wrote that self-titled album, which is a killer.
Yeah, they've done on record. I quite like, even at that point, I quite like some of their stuff on record. But I've never been inclined to see them live since then.
I want to see them now because I want to hear someone sing "Miss You" without pronouncing head yet.
More yeah. Yeah.
Because that dude from Alkaline Trio definitely won't
Matt
sing it like
Skiba
that. Yeah.
is. I mean, Alkaline Trio were a fantastic band.
Yes.
Matt Skiba's taken over for. Is it
Tom DeLonge.
Tom DeLonge that's left?
Yep.
Matt Skiba is infinitely less annoying than Tom DeLonge. So, yeah, I think they'd probably be worth seeing now. They've also built up enough of a back catalogue to have a fairly storming set, I would have thought.
Yeah, they're one of those bands that I started off thinking, well, this is just, can't be asked with this, is childish stuff.
Yeah.
And then they wrote the self-titled, I was like, oh
Yeah.
shit, learn how to write songs. Good ones as well. Damn it.
That was one of their early songs,
Yes.
damn it, which is one of their really good early songs. So, we've not learned how to end a podcast yet.
We haven't. Oh, do you want me to tell you that In Flames story?
Go on then, tell
About
us
how
In Flames
amazing
story.
this... See, because I feel like I've bitched and whined enough about Avenged Sevenfold to tell you about like the fact that In Flames were good.
Yeah.
And like Swedish people, I like Swedish people. Swedish frontmen they're just
Anders Breivik? Not so much.
not so much. No. But you know, there's a unique, slightly drier sense of humour than
Yeah.
And he just wandered up to the guitarist at one point in time while he was changing guitars and was like, "Hey, are you going to join us on this next song?" He was trolling people in the audience. It was brilliant. I remember leaning over to my girlfriend and going, "These are probably the last honest words you're going to hear on this stage." Right? Because, he's not making this up. He's not talking about his people. He was asking people to form a circle pit and then congratulating a man for just rotating on the spot. And then pointing out that it was not actually a circle pit. Sir, I respect what you're doing, but that is not a circle pit. It's very true, and I think my point is that you can always take something good from a gig.
Oh, yeah.
Often it's when they stop.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
in this instance, it was the support band, so always get there early, kids.
I've seen great support bands over the years, certainly.
I've gone to see bands just for the support band. That's it.
Yeah.
All of us, in fact. Yeah.
So, we're going to be putting out episodes on a regular basis, hopefully weekly. We've not fully decided yet, but they're going to be just sort of two bands, so there'll be a bit less rambling than this one thing. It's just kind of a test episode.
A bit less Dean Friedman days.
Well, I don't know. If we got Dean Friedman in the F section, we may well have. You'll have to wait and see.
Can we put him in the D section as well? Because I feel like
Just do
Tracy's
it
got
twice.
a lot of things to say about it. What have we got in the A section?
Oh,
Not
well.
Not
We haven't
A.
got A. But yeah, our first episode, which will be out soon, we're going to be talking about Arab Strap for our lesser well-known band, and AC/DC. So that's going to be
Yeah. Apart from Arab Strap.
well, they've got a few riffs. They're
Have
not
they?
really well.
Oh,
Melodies,
Yeah.
Scottish bloke mumbling. That'll do. So yeah, thanks for listening. If you've listened, if you haven't, if this has just gone into the atmosphere with nobody listening, cheers.
Just a reference, he's drunk.
Which doesn't really work on a podcast.
No. We will learn this.
We will learn. We will
All
learn.
the learning experience.
And
you
hopefully
will learn
these-
with us.
These will become more polished later on.
Or
Potentially.
you, the listener, will be able to understand the silence that is a shrug, the silence that is a raised eyebrow, and the silence that is Tracy staring off, thinking about how to describe the most beautiful and ethereal band that she's listened to this week.
Excellent. Right, cheers guys. This has been We Dig Music. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.